Hello, good morning, and welcome to another edition of Wendy Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, November 25th, and I am joined in studio by my friend and colleague, Liisa Murray. Welcome, Liisa.
Hello, thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. It's so great to have you in the guest chair.
I know, it's a different view from here. It feels a little different.
Well, and for us, that means one thing. That means we get to enjoy your baked goods.
Yes.
So very excited to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
So we'll start the show as we usually do, and then we will get to the fun stuff. Today's weather is relatively mild. They're expecting a high degree of 52, so that's not too bad.
No.
Just put on a little jacket and you should be good to go for outside. We have one resident birthday today. That's Alberta Ann. Do you know Alberta?
I know Alberta. Alberta is a wonderful woman. I wanted to wish an extra special happy birthday to her. She's so wonderful. She's a musical person. She's one of the just such a kind-hearted person.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, sending lots of birthday wishes to you, Alberta. We do have some staff birthdays today, too. It's actually Naosa from Development.
Oh,
you all know Naosa. Happy birthday to her. And Melissa from Finance, and Anna from the Riverwalk Food Service. So happy birthday to everyone. In terms of notable individuals who are celebrating a birthday today, they include the actors Ben Stein and John Larroquette. Do you remember John Larroquette from Night Court? Do you remember him?
I do. I remember seeing him when I was younger. He was kind of like a smarmy kind of character guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Famous actor. Singer Amy Grant. She's married, I think, to Vince Gill, right?
That's right. And they've been married for years.
Yes.
I used to love Amy Grant when I was a little girl. I did a talent show dance to one of her songs, actually.
Really? Baby Baby?
Baby Baby, exactly that one. How did you know? How did you know?
I don't know. That's my limited Amy Grant knowledge, but I guess it was very well known.
Yeah, that was one of her hit songs.
She was actually on my mind, I guess it was maybe last week or the week before, because do you watch The Masked Singer?
No, oh my gosh, I need to though.
It's such a funny
Olivia,
show.
One of our other co-hosts, watches it and tells me about it all the time.
It's really very fun, very fun. It's a very family-friendly show, and it wasn't her, but one of the guesses because it was a couple, was that it was her and her husband Vince Gill.
Which would be great. I hope they log those guesses as like, oh, maybe next time we'll cast those people.
They get some decent names, and the couple that it really was Clint Black and Lisa Hartman Black, or something like that. They're another country singer and actress.
Oh, okay.
So, FYI, in case anybody out there enjoys The Masked Singer, so definitely check it out. Christina Applegate, it's her birthday today. She's in that Netflix show Dead to Me. Have you seen that one?
I started watching that. It's funny, but it's also like very emotional and intense too. Yeah.
Yep, I watched the first season, but there's so much out there to watch on TV now that like I watched the first season, and then of course I had really good intentions. Okay, I'll go back and I'll watch season 2, but then I got distracted and watched something else. So I I fell by the wayside, totally forgotten about it.
I can't tell you how many times I've done that with television shows. Shows that I genuinely enjoy.
Right,
and then there's just so much TV to watch that you're just like, well, I don't, and then you just lose.
You move on to the next thing. I know.
Exactly.
It's the worst problem that we should have.
I
right?
know. Oh, it's so hard. So much good TV to watch.
It was also Joe DiMaggio's birthday today, and John F. Kennedy Jr.'s birthday. And so this is a funny story. So it's also, if anybody out there on July 4th, we do this in my family. It's a big tradition. We watch the Nathan's hot dog eating contest every July 4th. Do you watch that?
I have never. I've heard of it, but I've never watched.
Oh my. Allison, do you watch that? It's really a sight to behold because it's both men. Well, you guys must know if you watch it. It's men and women compete. And they're like just shoving the hot dogs down. And it's a real art form because, you know, they put it in water so that it gets all mushy. And then they just slide it down. Allison, shake it. They just slide it down. It's like...
It does not seem appetizing, I have to say. But
I know.
I guess they're not doing it for the love of a hot dog. They're doing it for, you know,
I just
competition.
Feel bad for their bodies. bodies, I mean, their stomach must just be like, what are you doing to me today?
I mean, they've got to be. At the end of the day, that's got to be a rough day. That's got to be a rough day.
But then you could think, well, they probably do this throughout the year for competition, so maybe their bodies are used to it, and maybe it's not such a big thing.
I mean, I hope so for their body's sake.
I know. So anyway, so Joey Chestnut, so happy birthday to him. He's like the reigning champion.
Oh.
And if anybody has ever heard of the app called Cameo.
Oh, yeah.
So it's very, very fun. David Pomerantz actually is the one who told me about it a while ago, and they have, if you don't know, they have celebrities who will, you pay them money and then they record a video greeting for you. It could be a happy birthday, happy anniversary. And so because it's a tradition of my family to watch the hot dog eating contest, I thought it would, and because he wasn't too expensive, at all, I had Joey Chestnut do a greeting for my son Ben. Kind of just like, keep up the good work, or we're rooting for you. And so
that's such a fun and creative gift from your mom. I like that, because it's something really outside of the box too, and it's specific related to your tradition, Oh, that's fun. I like that.
So that's my Joey Chestnut story. So he did a great job. He was super responsive and sweet about it. So
that's great.
We're fans. So today is a great day. It's the day before Thanksgiving. Maybe you want to share with us, what's your Thanksgiving tradition?
Well, usually my Thanksgiving traditions, of course, this year is a little different,
Yes.
but usually my Thanksgiving traditions, I'm with my parents. It's always usually a very small Thanksgiving because our extended family lives in California and Michigan, all over the place. So the day before, my mom and I make like a schedule out of everything we're going to cook. We do all the prep work for Thanksgiving. We've already figured out what our menu's going to be, and we've got everything.
Okay.
So it's a lot of cooking prep and hanging out and having like, my mom always makes like a big bowl of soup for us to have, something like light and comforting before we have our big meal the next day.
Okay, so what is that going to happen this year? Are you going to be with your mom? And
no, so my parents moved to Wisconsin last year. So, and the way things are this year, it's not safe for us to have big family gatherings or travel places. So, but my brother is here in the area, so it's just going to be me and my brother. So we're going to have, I think you'll like this, a fully vegetarian Thanksgiving this year.
Yay!
Yes, because my brother's a vegetarian, and it doesn't make sense for me to make a turkey for just me, and I never mind eating vegetarian, so I think we're gonna have a big lasagna, a lot of vegetables. I'm gonna make some of the things I'm showing you today.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Allison is heading very far away to the New Jersey.
Ooh, the exotic lands of New Jersey.
So before we get into the Thanksgiving conversation of ours, I thought it would be very funny to share with viewers that today is actually known as Blackout Wednesday.
Oh,
did you know? I did not know that. It's also known as Black Wednesday, Drinksgiving, Thanksgiving Eve, Wacky Wednesday, Whiskey Wednesday, Awkward Wednesday, or Big Wednesday. And the reason it's called Blackout Wednesday is, as you can imagine, it's often associated with binge drinking, since very few people work on Thanksgiving, and in fact, police departments increase patrols checking for drunk driving in many jurisdictions, including Indiana and Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
And this term originated when we were in the world of Google. It was all the way back to 2007, but they say it was even decades before that this existed. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I had never heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes total sense to me, though. I remember when I was in college, when you would come home and everyone would go out to the bars on Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and it was like every year was like a high school reunion out at the local bars, because no one had work the next day, and they were all just hanging out, having fun. So,
you know what's another interesting phenomenon is that now stores, we'll see what happens this year, but in recent years, stores have started to be open on Thanksgiving.
I know. I have to say, like, I get it, but I hate it. Like, I want us all to just be able to have a day off, right? I mean, that's what I think, but
I don't know. I mean, you know, I love a good bargain. I've gone on Black Friday. Have you gone to on Black Fridays at all?
I've never done. So I used to work in retail years ago at this point, but I always worked on Black Friday.
Oh, okay.
So I had the other side of it. So I've always been like, no. though.
I've done it for like the past couple of years.
Really?
I've gone on Black Friday to like my local shopping mall in New Jersey, and I usually go in the morning because I figure I'm going to go before the crowds come. So I'll go at like, you know, I'm an early riser. I've got kids and pets, so I'm always up at like, you know, 6 in the morning anyway, even if I'm not working. And so I've like just gone while my whole family is still sleeping, and I'll go to the mall, and I've done my holiday shopping. I don't know. I think it's kind of adventurous. You know,
I mean,
get a good bargain.
And that's the way to do it, though. If you're going to do it, wake up early in the morning, and it's like you've gotten it all done before anyone else is even awake. Like, if you're going to do it, I think that's definitely the way to do it.
That's a good strategy.
Yeah.
So let's get to the good stuff, which is Lisa's amazing culinary treats. Come tell us what you've made for us today.
Okay, I'm going to slide them on out.
Wow.
So,
oh my gosh, these look so good. What did you make for us today?
So today I made, so this is a classic thing I make for every Thanksgiving, and I've been making since I was like 10 or 11.
Okay.
So these are dinner rolls, we call them in our family. So they're just like yeasted crescent rolls. So you know I'm a big bread baker, and this is where it all started. Like this was the first thing that I really learned how to make and was like, oh, I can do it. I can bake things and they taste good.
Okay.
So this is like the root, the beginning of all of it.
So what's in that? Is it like just simple, like only a couple of ingredients, like butter or flour? Or how complicated is it?
All classic stuff that you would absolutely be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So it's flour, milk, sugar, salt, yeast, and butter.
Let me ask you a yeast question, because
Ask me.
in my family, so Ben, I think I've shared with you, Ben really enjoys baking now. And so he and my husband are on this, because Ben is gluten-free, he and my husband are on this quest to make gluten-free pizza.
Ooh,
so
okay.
They're trying to make the pizza crust, and they haven't quite gotten it down pat yet, but they use yeast, and so then they put it in the thing, and then it sits, and then it moves. So what's the story with yeast? Is it you like using it?
Absolutely. So yeast is, so there's different ways that you leaven your bread. So like a basic, like a cupcake or a cake usually uses like baking powder or baking soda, and it gives you like a short but quick rise, and that's how you get like sort of these types of baked goods. But yeast and wild yeast, which is in sourdough bread, is a longer rise, and it'll give you a stronger structure. So using the commercial yeast is a little more, like wild yeast is, as the name suggests, a little crazier, harder to predict. But when you buy the yeast from the store, it usually is like pretty okay, and then it's going to rise, it's going to about double in an hour, and you know that for sure. And it helps build up the, in regular bread, the gluten bonds too, as it sits. So I would imagine, I'm still learning gluten-free baking. I have to say I'm a little inspired by Ben and his gluten-free baking. I've made a few good gluten-free things that I'll have to bring on sometime when I'm doing better.
Okay.
But yeah, with the yeasted dough, for sure, that's absolutely the way to go. It sounds like they're right on track for figuring out like the perfect gluten-free pizza crust.
Yeah, they're working on it.
Yeah.
Okay, and tell us about the muffins now.
Okay, so they're cupcakes.
Cupcakes,
They're very similar. I mean,
what's the difference between a cupcake and a muffin? Is there an official difference?
that's like a philosophical question these days. But basically, a muffin. A muffin usually doesn't have any frosting on it. It's usually supposed to be like a little less sweet. So, but these days people make muffins that are very sweet.
Yes.
So sometimes that's a thing my mom always says. So my mom, who of course is one of my cooking inspirations, is not someone who likes sweets at all, really. Like she'll enjoy sweets, but she likes something that's got a little spice to it, a little, she doesn't like overly sweet things. And she always says like muffins are basically cupcakes these days.
Right.
But they're very similar. So
now you mentioned baking soda as an ingredient. So my husband swears that baking soda leaves a bitter taste. Is that true?
I don't think so. I've never experienced that. But I do know that some people's mouths have like different receptors. Like, you know how some people think cilantro tastes like soap?
No.
Yes. So this is a very real thing. Cilantro, they think so it's basically just like something in their mouth. They're not crazy. It's just that something in their mouth genetically, they don't have the receptors to like taste cilantro. So cilantro to them tastes like soap.
Really?
Very real.
Okay.
So I wonder if maybe
baking soda is the same kind of thing?
Yeah. I've never heard of that though. So I'm completely hypothesizing on the fly right now.
Well, if you haven't heard about it, then I'm going to just discount what he says.
Yeah, I mean, if you want, I can just say that doesn't happen, and then you
Okay,
can
there you
say,
go.
turn to the episode. Liisa said so.
There you go. Okay, so like when you make your frosting, do you make that when the cupcakes are in the oven, or what's your story with frosting?
Yeah, so usually I make the cupcakes first and I let them cool because they really have to be completely cool before you put the frosting on. Otherwise it'll melt everywhere. So this frosting is actually a brown butter frosting, which I really like. It's very unique. So you use that technique, that French technique of cooking the butter on the stove until it browns and gets that nutty flavor. And then you let that cool and mix that with some confectioner sugar, vanilla, and a little bit of milk. And you use the electric mixer and you whip it up until you get a nice little frosting.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
Both of these look delicious.
Well, thank you. I hope you will try some.
Yes. I'm going to just pocket all of them and take them back to my office and,
Please do. If you need to make any meetings happen, you can, make people come into your office for the snacks and stuff.
So with you and your brother, you're going to tell us again what you're going to be responsible for. You said lasagna, but what about on the dessert front?
On the dessert front, I think actually my brother stepped up to the plate this year, and he said he's going to make a pumpkin pie, because that's a very, very classic Thanksgiving meal. And I am definitely, out of the two of us, by far the cook. So usually I'll do the cooking and I'll make him bring the drinks or something like that.
So he's got it real easy.
He's got it real easy, I gotta say. But,
Family.
it's family. We've all got our roles to play. Right. He'll do all the dishes when we're done, which is, yes, exactly. Allison's nodding along because that's a gift. I'm happy to just sit back at the end.
Yeah, I think that's a fair division of labor. If somebody's going to do the cooking, they shouldn't do the cleaning.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, I agree, for sure. I'm always happy to have someone help me out with a little cleaning.
Well, thank you for bringing these.
Of course.
We're going to devour them when we go off air. So thank you for going, making them and for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And we wish you and your family a super duper happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. The same to you.
Thank you. So let's wrap up the show as we always do, and we will remind you of the upcoming programming that we're going to have for you today. We have Jewish Ethics with Rabbi Noah. That's at 11:15. We have Wellness with Deborah at 1:30. We've got a concert with Larry at 2:30, and a rebroadcast of the show at 6:30. And I will mention that even though tomorrow is Thanksgiving, we have some special things planned for you, including an original Good Morning Hebrew Home episode. So definitely tune in tomorrow for all that good stuff. So thank you so much for joining us on this Wendy Wednesday. What else did they call it? They called it a Wacky Wednesday. They called
Drinksgiving.
Drinksgiving. So raise a toast to everybody in your life who you love. And we're sharing a lot of gratitude with each of you. And we're very thankful this year for having you all in our lives. So you take care, and we'll see you next time.